And who keeps us abreast on our hometown better than Ray Mooney? And Ray is with us, and good to see you, Ray. Happy New Year. Happy New Decade.
Same here, Jack. I was just remembering this is my 10th visit. It doesn't seem possible.
10th visit. It was the 4th of July weekend of 2015.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the Opera House, yeah.
2 per year, starting in 2015. And again, it's hard to believe it's already New Year's Day. It may be the first time, actually, New Year's Eve day, maybe the first time you've actually been here on one of the holidays.
I tried to get some champagne, but the state store was closed.
I don't think they let us do that on the air anyway.
The FCC would be down.
But I said to Ray, okay, we start at 6:30 on our reminiscing show. You're from Rutland VTF, and Ray, precisely, even though I admit I was getting a little worried. It was 6:29:50. We got the digital clock here, and I told her there's actually 2 times. There's my time and everybody else's time, and my time.
It's like the fire department. We always get there on time.
I set the my clock at home an hour ahead because it's psychological. I think it's later than it really is. So.
Well, I thought of you this morning. I set my alarm for 5, and I went off, and I woke up, and I said, "How does he do this every morning?" But good for you.
Well, after a while, I'm not. After a while, you just go to bed earlier. That's one of the things. But we have so many things to talk about right off the bat. Just to go back to. You're from Rutland VTF. You've been with us since 2015. This has gone on before that. How you got involved with it? I know that there are people that are listening in right now that are participate in the page and everything, but and they probably know the story, but some people might not. How you got involved with this?
Well, I always call them the newbies, the ones that have just joined or maybe haven't been members very long. But You're from Rutland, Vermont. If was founded in I believe 2011 by Joey Garfano, Karen Bruno McGlory, and her husband PJ McGlory. And Karen and PJ wanted to share memories of Rutland from South Carolina, where they lived, kind of homesick. Somehow they got tangled up with Joey Garfano here in Rutland, and he became like the anchor. And it started from there, and they end up, members here and there joining. Well, as of right now, we've got 9,627 members. And, I would say 2 or 3 a day join. Eventually, we're going to hit 10,000, which to me is a milestone. But it's just a way to remember Rutland, remember the city we grew up in, have good memories of it. Joey let me join in 2013. He made me an administrator in 2016, and sadly he passed suddenly in 2017. But he had given me the ground rules and laid down the law to me, as they say, about how to handle things. And I'm a speck more lenient than Joey. I may allow a little more too much. For instance, the debate on Royals Hearthside. Now, I put that on as an obituary, a wake, more or less, for the building, and it turned into a little negative.
Yeah, and I was reading that.
Yes.
We do have a caller right off the bat, 773-9792 with Ray Mooney. And again, Ray, this is a Facebook page. You're from Rutland VTF, and we'll get back to what you allow and what you don't. But it's a fun page. It's not a
That's
page
what it's all about.
Criticize somebody that you used to work for or whatever.
Went to school with.
Exactly. Hi, you're on the air. Hello.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning. How you doing, Mary Michael?
Very good. How are you?
Hi, Mary Michael. How are you?
Very good.
My wife told me you were going to call, and I wanted to say hi to you.
Well, hello. I just want to call and say Happy New Year to you guys. And the page is awesome. I can remember showing the page to my mom, and she's like, oh, I remember this, I remember that. She can remember, she used to tell me about the Grand Theater.
That's great to hear, yeah.
And then my grandparents used to own a bowling alley on Whale Street called the Dunn's Bowling Alley.
Oh, yes. Across from the Herald there, kitty corner.
She remembers. She remembered a lot of stuff about that page, and she enjoyed it very much.
Oh, that's what I like to hear, especially about the older people, really.
Yeah, and we certainly miss your mom. But Mary Michael, who works at Hannaford's, I think everybody knows. This is what Rutland's all about. I mean, we were talking. Ray said you were going to call Mary Michael, and I said, well, if we're not for. When I go shopping at Hannaford's, it would take me 8 hours instead of 3 if it were not for Mary, because she shows me places that I can't find on my own. But it's that type of stuff. It's like You take what you see every day. As a matter of fact, I went to get a pizza at Ted's Pizza a week or two ago, and I bumped into Ray there. They told me you were coming, by the way, so I know
we
you
had
were
a gab session out front.
Yes, we did. So, it's that type of stuff. It's on Facebook, and it transcribes every day onto the Facebook page.
It's like
perfect.
A neighborhood.
It's perfect. So you're going into work today, Mary Michael?
Yeah, I have to be there for 7.
Wow. Do you have to work tomorrow?
I have tomorrow off.
All right. Well, good. That means you can stay up as late as you want.
Celebrate.
I'm going to try to watch the ball drop.
Oh, I haven't seen that in like 50 years.
Oh, my gosh.
So,
I'm going to attempt. Let's just say that.
Thanks, Mary Michael.
Happy New Year to you, Mary Michael.
Happy New Year.
Have a great day.
Yep, bye-bye. 773-9792, Ray Mooney with a 648. I get so excited, and there's so many things to talk about. I got to tell you, I did see your that you put together for PEG TV Christmas.
'Twas a Christmas in Rutland.
'Twas a Christmas in Rutland. You did a fantastic job. Check it out, PEG TV, video on demand, and somewhere in there you can
I got to
find
give Ben Burge credit, my collaborator.
Yeah.
He does all the technical stuff, the music.
It was fantastic. The music was perfect.
Yeah.
You got to check it out. It's it's on the archives or the video on demand or whatever.
We also have a YouTube site called The Best Rutland Documentaries, which has all the stuff we've done. And
how many have you done?
I think, let's see, we've done Ray Mooney's Memories, 3 volumes. We did our Rutland 1941, where we took the old footage and put music and the narration to it. Ben did a thing about Mayor Healy, giving the Irish, what it means to be Irish on St. Patrick's Day. Excuse me.
Which
he also did the history of the Halloween parade with Tom Fagan. And then Ben and I have just done, excuse me, Rutland, a memorable place to eat. And it's a 3-parter about restaurants, snack bars, etc. The only problem was PEG couldn't show it because we had too many current, not current, but
I know what you
ones
mean.
that started out years ago. Rutland Restaurant,
right.
The Palms, say we had to do it because they were part of the
and it's advertising. Again, they're not. They don't have advertising.
They have standards they have to go by. Yeah.
We have somebody else on the line here. Hello.
Good morning. I thought I'd give you a call right off.
Who's that, Stevie?
Yes, it is, Steve.
Hey, good morning, Steve. Happy New Year.
Good morning. Jack beat me to it. I was going to mention watching that show.
Yeah, it was great, wasn't it?
It was great. It was really great.
Thank you, Stevie.
It brought so many memories of stuff that went on back in those days.
I put my heart and soul into that one.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
Yeah, Christmas in Rutland. What was the name of it exactly?
'Twas a Christmas in Rutland.
It was a Christmas in Rutland. It was fantastic. Steve, as you mentioned, you watched it, and there's somebody I want to bring up a lot of the stuff. Of course, we just had Christmas and everything. The thing among everything, when you narrated it, and you did a great job narrating, of course, did you have a script, or was that a lot of that ad-libbed?
I started out with a script, and I went off script most of the time. And what Ben does, he will ask me questions. What'd you think about whatever, Woolworths, say? And I would start talking. Yeah. And that's how we kind of do it. And then he'll edit it out. Of course, you know me, Steve. I could talk for 4 hours. And you got to cut it down to about a half.
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
But I highly recommend it. And all the other documentaries you've done about Rutland,
another favorite of ours was Courage, Compassion, and Commitment, which was the history of the Rutland Fire Department, along with the Chief Wiltonsky years primarily.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. The part, as you know, Steve, on the Christmas one that Ray just did, is I love the home movies and the home pictures of you when you were like 5, 6 years old. I
didn't want to get
in. I love that. I loved it.
Yeah, I didn't want to get in too deep like I was promoting myself, but those were my memories.
Well, your memories, and you're basically the same age as both Steve and I. As a matter of fact, are you a classmate of Steve's?
Yes, class of 65.
Okay, at Rutland High. Is we all of our generation, that's exactly us.
Yeah.
We can put ourselves into your places. I got the biggest kick, as Steve did, in that documentary where was it? I don't know. You were 5, 6, 7 years old, maybe, and your uncle,
Tom O'Rourke,
Tom O'Rourke came as Santa Claus, and then you said you were reaching that age where you were a little bit skeptical, but then you picked out the window. And he was going next door.
Well, they were in
cahoots
with the Capellos next door, which I didn't know.
What a great idea!
When I saw that, I was a firm believer, as I said.
It was great. It was great. I said, "Son of a gun!" Yeah, there's Santa Claus paying you a visit.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Did you ask any questions?
What we really enjoy about it is Marie's not very good on the computer, but I show her the your pages all the time. And, we have, of course, you have a lot of stuff in there about 1965, our graduation year.
Yeah.
Of course, Marie graduated from MSJ, and you have an awful lot of stuff from MSJ also.
I try to balance it out. I don't want to look partial,
It's great because we both had friends
in both schools. Oh, sure. A lot of my IHM friends went to MSJ.
Yeah, I love watching, seeing the old IHM ones because, I grew up with them even though I didn't go to school with them.
Sure.
And it was great.
I always joke, Steve, I don't want the Knott sisters after me if I put too much Rutland High stuff on.
I know.
You don't want the Knott sisters after you, that's for sure.
That's right.
That's too good. Too good. Great memories. And I certainly want to... again, your call, Steve, and Mary Michael, but our lines are open to reminisce. Thanks, Steve.
Well, thank you. I just wanted to get a...
Hey, Happy New Year, Steve, and I'll be on the couch tonight watching the ball come down.
Well, last year, I don't know why, but I did.
Oh, yeah, that's a ritual with me, but that's the extent of my excitement on New Year's Eve.
Well, yeah, enjoy the crowd. I admire you both for being able to stay up that late, I'll tell you that. But thanks, Steve. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, take care, Steve.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, bye-bye. And we do have sports in just a minute. Ray Mooney with us, 646. Hi, you're on the air.
Well, this is a Vermonter calling.
This is Jim from Whipple Hollow, but it's New Year's.
That's close to Rutland.
Come on,
It's
Jack, I opened the door for you. Now slam it shut.
No, I don't have time. Hey, listen, we don't want to take away from the purpose of our show this morning, so it's all right. Flatlanders are welcome.
Up against the wall, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. All right.
I remember, this is kind of minuscule, but they had the first McDonald's in Rutland. We used up in Middlebury, where I grew up. We used to make those long trips all the time because if we won the football game, especially the Big Macs, oh, my word, it was like going out of state up to Maine or something like that. It was such a thrill to go to a McDonald's.
Well, it's almost like today now. We make a trip up to Middlebury for the A&W.
That's right.
There you go,
right.
yeah.
That's
One
right.
or two left in the state. He's the only one left. Anson. It used to be Anson, yeah.
I think it is the only one
the
in the
only
state.
one that I know of, yeah.
Now, I think this, we've talked about this before. There's one over, I think, near Lake George or something, right? But, hey, thanks, Jim.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Jim's been, we've teased him.
Oh, yeah.
He's from Whipple Hollow, and but born in Albany.
That's all right. That's all right.
Oh, that's all
How long
right.
has he been here?
No, he's been here for many years. And it's funny about the McDonald's because I not that McDonald's, the one by the fairgrounds, was I've mentioned before, and I don't want to turn it into me either, but I'm reminiscing along with everybody else. Was the day when that McDonald's opened. In 1971 was the day that I came up for my interview to WSYB the first time around.
Without the snow.
Without the snow. That was later on because I got the job. But Mike Cameron, who's you met Mike before.
Yeah.
Mike who's got the Rutland legacy with the Camerons, George and
Howard,
and Betty and Howard. And Howard interviewed me. Mike's uncle, and as a matter of fact, I came to the radio station. They said, "Well, I said I have an appointment here," and they said, "Well, they were out at the remote at McDonald's is opening up." So I went and I had lunch, and I sat there in the table, and I'm watching them do the broadcast and everything, and then talked to them later. But that was in October '71, so I certainly remember that.
Allen in South Maine, yeah.
Yeah, and since that time, we have another McDonald's.
Yes, we do.
We are growing. Ray Mooney with us. So we got sports coming up here, and we'll be right back. I talked about the top 13 Baker's Dozen, and certainly part of the top local sports stories of the past year, 2019, West Rutland softball and also basketball championship in girls basketball, and one Elizabeth Bailey, who's a big part of both teams, and also the soccer team at West Side. And Elizabeth's been in here once or twice, but happens to be Ray's granddaughter. And I know you're very proud of her, and heck, we're all proud of her. we love talking to her and everything on the air. She's so good. Yep, you're on. Go ahead, Ray. Yep.
I can't say enough good about her. She's great girl, great player.
Yeah.
But a great team on top of it all. Great coach.
Yep,
and a great school.
Yep, and it's again, I know you weren't there. You weren't there at the softball. I know you were busy. You had other things going on.
To say,
but she got smacked twice during the game. In the circle, in the head and then in the leg. And
she's a tough girl.
Was the bruise? I don't want. She's listening. I don't want to embarrass. I know your daughter's listening as well, but. Was that bruise on You're from Rutland VT, or was that your personal? Somewhere I saw.
I think it was on my personal one, yeah.
Everybody around the world saw
that hurt.
The bruise of the century, or the bruise. But anyway, that's so that's how it all connects. Mike Cameron has joined us. We were just talking to Mike about the new McDonald's at the time, 1971. Yeah, and I get a kick. Speaking of the. And again, Ray Mooney from You're from Rutland VTF, and I do it almost every year, and you put it on for me when I talk about my first Thanksgiving in Rutland.
Oh, November.
Yeah, November of 71. Later, that's a month or two after that McDonald's story, where it was like I guess the snowstorm might grow year to year. I think of it as, we looked it up.
That was a good one.
Yeah, it was a couple of feet, but you always put the picture of it.
I got that shot of West Street by the bridge.
Yeah, you do. It's stuff like that. I want to go back. Speaking of 1971, on your documentary about Christmas in Rutland, you mentioned about the big Santa Claus that was downtown.
Oh yeah,
and in the documentary, you mentioned that was 1971. For the life of me, I don't remember that personally.
70 and 71.
70 and 71. So it was right down in Depot Park,
right opposite Center Street. You can look right down at them.
And where did that Santa Claus come from? It was
came from New York State, from another Chamber of Commerce, but I can't remember which one.
And do you remember that, Mike? Mike grew up.
Yeah, I do.
That big
it was
Santa
pretty
Claus?
cool.
Yeah.
It was big.
It was huge.
Yeah, it was cool.
And as I said, some kids were afraid of it for some reason.
You said it had that.
He looked like an alien or something.
That's another thing you mentioned on the thing. There is, I have pictures of we have pictures of my wife and her brother when they were kids, and my niece's daughter when. Everybody seems to have a picture of where they're scared to death of Santa Claus for some reason. We do have a person on the line here right now. Ray, hi. You're on with Ray Mooney.
Jack, can you tell Ray Mooney that Elizabeth Bailey, the West Rutland girls have been in the Marble Valley League for 26 years. She's the first West Rutland girl to lead the league in scoring.
Wow.
First West Rutland girl.
That I was not sure
of.
This
is Frank Biotti.
So
I don't
Frank,
know. Do you know Frank personally?
Not personally, but I know the name, Frank.
If it's West Rutland stuff or entire state stuff, Frank knows about it. So that's good to know.
It is, really. Thank you, Frank.
First West Rutland girl to lead the
Marble Valley League.
Before
that, it was Central Vermont Girls Athletic League before that, Jack.
And, of course, now the Southern Vermont League, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But, Mr. Mooney,
Thank you for the
on the end of your programs, you always give credit to the Rutland Historical Society.
Correct.
Are you involved at all with them?
Yes, I am. I'm a member. I was on the board for 2 years, and that's where I did most of my research.
I want to give you a thanks because back in September, there was an article in the paper about 50th year of the Rutland Historical Society, and they gave information that you can read the Rutland Herald on your home computer on a certain whatever. So I want to thank the Rutland Herald, because the Rutland Historical Society, for putting the Rutland Heralds on the computer.
Well, I will convey that message.
Do you know how many hundreds of hours I've spent at the Rutland Herald and also at the Rutland Library putting the microfilm on a machine?
Oh, tell me about it. That's what I used to do.
Hundreds of hours.
Yeah.
Because I've written 9 books, and I don't have to go to the Rutland Library anymore because I can do it on my kitchen table.
Well, they've brought all the heralds up to the Historical Society. I don't know if you knew that or not. They're in the basement.
Right, because originally I went to the Rutland Herald. They had one machine and all the microfilms in a cabinet.
Yeah.
And then they moved it to the Rutland Library, so I moved to the Rutland Library.
Yeah.
And I've spent hundreds of hours reading the Rutland Heralds, but now, thanks to you guys, I can be at home and I can start reading at 6 o'clock in the morning instead of at 10 o'clock when the library opens.
That's great to hear, and you can do it in the comfort of your own home, as they say.
Correct, and that's because of that article in the paper, 50th year of the Rutland Historical Society. And I noticed, like I say, on all your programs on the end, you give credit to the Rutland Historical Society. Yep. So thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you, Frank.
Frank, thanks. We got to run here. We got the news coming up. But thanks, Frank. 773-9792. We do have the news coming up, and the first half hour went by like that. We're reminiscing. You're from Rutland VTF, and we'll be back in a few on WSYB. Ray Mooney with us. You're from Rutland VTF, and that is the Facebook page. Mike Cameron as well. The WSYB Procter Gas Morning Show. Ray with his biannual visit. He's been visiting us since the 4th of July, 2015. It's hard to believe.
10th visit.
10th visit. And again, I was saying with Ray, the time is going by way too fast already. You can certainly call us at 773-9792. But and the reason I say with Ray that we start at 6:30 is because I wanted I didn't want to get Ray up too early. But
thank you.
We do have a couple of people calling in here. And hello, you're on the air. Hello.
Hey Jack, it's Scott Shattuck. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. So I was hearing. So the Rutland Herald you can pick it up on the computer, some of the old stuff, because I know that my kids have heard about me fighting back in the old days with their uncles, and we don't have any of the old articles and stuff, so I can find that.
Yeah, if you go on the Historical Society website, I think there's a link there, to be honest. I'm not sure what it is. But
okay.
And it should bring you to the Heralds, I think. If not, they do have them up there if you want to go up and look at them.
Tell them, what, your kids don't believe you, Scott?
Oh, they believe me.
Oh, okay.
Right. They've been out to the garage. They've seen me. I got the old trunks hanging up. They know all about that.
Nice. Scott Shattuck is on the line with us here.
Hey, did you happen to get, I sent you an email about the wrestling this past weekend. Did you get that at all or not?
I don't believe so. You send it to my Catamount Radio one? I'll look it up again. If you want to send it again, I certainly would be happy to mention it certainly tomorrow when we get back in here. But if you want to send it again.
We had a pretty good weekend. The Fairhaven, Rutland, we took 9th out of 18 teams. We had one of my wrestlers who's 15-0 right now, took outstanding wrestler, and we have one wrestler from Rutland who took 3rd. So it's a pretty good event. And Sam Worthing from Fairhaven also took 2nd. So we had a pretty good weekend.
Yeah, send that again. I don't believe it. It's Jay Healy, Healey at CatamountRadio.com.
Okay.
Thanks, Scott. Thank
you.
One, bye. Bye. Scott, also the wrestling coach at Fairhaven. We did have another call coming in here. Be patient. Let it keep ringing. We get to you when we can. And here's the call right now. Hi, you're on with Ray Mooney. Hello.
Hi, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning to my neighbor Mike also.
Yes.
I got a question for Ray. We had some discussion the other day at our place about Freight Street.
Freight Street? Okay. That was
so could you explain where maybe Freight Street was?
That was the extension of Evelyn Street. In other words, where Evelyn Street turns now, it used to go straight in towards the railroad yard, and that was called Freight Street. It was very short, as I remember, and they would unload, freight from train cars, et cetera, in there.
Okay.
So now it would just be part of the parking lot?
More or less, yeah.
Yeah, and that was over when we were in the Opera House. We used to park our cars right there because that is actually a street. Is there a sign there that says Freight Street? Or?
I don't know if there is anymore or not, no.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't realize there was actually a bridge, a walking bridge that went over the railroad tracks.
You go.
From that area down to Union Street.
Yeah.
That was a number of years ago, before our time. But
All right. Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you. 773-9792. It's 14 after 7.
And a lot of people don't realize the number of buildings that used to be on Evelyn Street on the west side that are all gone now.
Oh, that's I think maybe it was one of these shows because that was a street. I thought it was just an extension.
No,
of Evelyn Street keeps on going.
It was called Freight, but it was an extension of Evelyn, actually. Yeah.
Now, we did get a question. You've mentioned YouTube, and I think this question was for us, basically at WSYB about YouTube. If you want to find your documentaries or some of the other stuff, if you go to youtube.com, right?
Yep.
And then you type in what you're searching for.
The best Rutland documentaries. And what you'll see is a squirrel. And what it is, it's Ben Burge and the Historical Society, Nick Wackett's squirrel outfit. And then they're all right there. That's like the website, more or less. Then you can type in, whichever one you want to watch.
So that's a question Verna Navin was asking. And Verna said a lot of people might not realize that, but it's youtube.com.
Yeah.
And you can type in what you're searching for.
Or you can go to the Historical Society, and we have our videos on there also, because we do these on behalf of the Historical Society.
And before we go to sports, speaking of Verna and Verna's husband, Tommy, we lost this year. And a wonderful guy, and I thank you, Verna, for being there. But we missed Tom as well. But in every year, right around this time, you do. Tom is. You got a picture of Tom up on top of the Rutland City Fire Department
on the tower. Yeah,
putting the tree up and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And since we've just had Christmas anyway, and speaking of that, and it's in your documentary about the ladder. I get the biggest kick out of that. The ladder going up to the top of the Meade building for
Santa Claus.
Santa Claus's arrival, and Santa Claus is climbing down the ladder.
1943.
And the crowds.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's amazing. Popular guy, Santa Claus.
Yeah. But Rutland was great for that.
Yeah, at Christmas
turning out
stuff.
Crowds, for any parade, like Andrew Meade parade.
Oh, yeah. we bring that up all the time. Andrew Meade Lawrence, the number one sports figure of the 20th century in Vermont, by the way.
But even look at the Halloween parades now. That still drops.
Rutland loves a parade.
Really, they do.
They really do. And you talked about how Santa came out, and a few times you said, well, I could tell by the clock, unless the clock was broken.
It was daylight.
It was daylight, that's right. And it was noontime. So you said, I don't think Santa went over and lit the tree at that
But
time.
I do think they had a ceremony of some kind, maybe he gave out lollipops or something,
But, I mean, the crowds.
Yeah, really.
Just unbelievable. And we're talking about, kids, the big statue of Santa Claus had that face. As I said, I don't quite remember that, even though it was around when the big Santa Claus at the end of
You ask some kids of that generation, I bet they'll remember him.
They would remember that. Yeah. And one other thing about that, because there are some other things in the documentary, but this is the Christmas one. 'Twas Christmas in Rutland, which Ray did, and just an excellent documentary, is the building that was specifically for toys.
Oh, Toy
Town, which is where the TD Bank is now, right?
Roughly, yeah. That was the old Kai's building, they called it.
And it was just toys at Christmas time.
Just at Christmas. And as I said in the documentary, I think Wilson Sports was behind it, but it was loaded with toys. It was just amazing to walk in there.
And it just came along at Christmas. Yeah. Perfect time.
I'd say 2 or 3 years at the most.
Yeah. And you talked about all the stores that had
decorations. Toys, The economy, of course, had Santa Claus in their toy department.
Right.
Wilson Sports had a big toy department. Bert Edison up at Edison Auto had all the Tonka toys in the windows. Oh, it was just a wonderland.
And you talked about the magazines coming along with the
covers
and
catalogs
ads. Of the toys.
Electric trains.
Oh, yeah. American Flyer, Lionel,
I was lucky enough to have an American Flyer. I don't even know where it is now.
I never liked Lionel because they had 3 rails. It didn't look right.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
I know the American Flyer we had had the cow coming across the track.
Oh, yeah, they had everything. You name
all
it.
All kinds of stuff. With Ray Mooney with us reminiscing. We're talking about our hometown. You're from Rutland VTF, 773-9792. The number to call here. And we do have a quick look at sports coming up. Ray Mooney with us. It's 21 after 7 on the Procter Gas Morning Show. 2020, I'm the one that would say 2019 or 2020, but 2020 sounds...
Oh, yeah. Good vision.
Exactly. Some optometrists I already know have calendars or, have already said, hey, it's a 2020 year. But Ray, with us, you mentioned it during the break. You want to, and we've talked about the Rutland Historical Society a couple of times, and some great guys help you out down there.
And I want to give a tip of the hat to Mickey Kelly and Fred Remington, who for 2 years helped me lug all the Herald volumes from the basement of the Herald in Fred's car up to the Historical Society, where I would go through them and scan. And I used a scanner my wife bought me. My wife, Judy, bought me this wand, they call it, from Home Shopping Network. I think it was $100, $120. I have scanned probably 21,000 images, really. And it's amazing.
And how's Mickey doing?
I saw Mickey about a month ago. He's doing pretty good, but he told me, he gave me some sage advice. He says, Ray, don't get old.
Well, Mickey's one of the great guys.
He really is.
No doubt about it.
I love talking to him.
I have mentioned many times, Rutland has got a whole bunch of colorful characters.
And that's a compliment to Mickey.
Speaking of, filling volumes, and I have a feeling we have one right now on the line. Hello, you're on the air.
Good morning. You're right, Jack, about Rutland's unique characters. Mickey Kelly's right in there.
He's there, the colorful
with
characters.
With the best of them, Joe Crowley, Charlie Mott.
Oh, yeah. On
and on. I could go through the whole list.
I know, every once in a while...
Preacher Martin?
In Sonny King, we have, every once in a while you do have pictures of Sonny, and on it goes. It's unbelievable. This little town's got all these colorful characters, that's for sure. What else is on your mind?
Ray, a couple things. Beautiful job on that Christmas in Rutland. I sent that to a few friends of mine,
Thank you very
old
much.
Classmates from MSJ. Mary Hutchins, who lives in Houston, Texas. Her father used to work in the men's department, Ray Hutchins, at the Economy Department Store.
I remember the name, but not him personally.
And then you'll remember this name, Greg Hubbard. His father was a cop, Don Hubbard.
Oh, Donald, yes.
Yeah. And Johnny McGarry, friends of mine, Jimmy McKinnon. But the thing I wanted to ask you about is I'm sure you remember the days of the band concerts in Rutland.
Sure, yeah.
And when Charlie Hackett was up there and Roxy's.
Yeah.
I may have asked you this before when I've seen you personally. There used to be a gentleman, I call him a gentleman up there, would show up every once in a while at the park, and he would be dressed in full cowboy regalia. He kind of looked like it looked like a Gene Autry outfit. I mean, it was almost to the T. And he was somehow, what I remember, I think I was in grammar school at the time, someone said he was somehow connected to where the park pharmacy used to be. I think it was Eno's. There was a girl there, a woman, when I was a kid. She was, they considered her Rutland's first blonde bomber. Her name was Jean Eno. Do you remember that?
I was a little too young for that.
Because she used to come over once in a while, and she was always with him. And she was. I remember people saying she was Rutland's first blonde.
That I do not remember, to be honest.
I'm a little older than you.
Just a little bit, yeah. I thought you were going to mention Mr. Drexel. Remember him?
Oh, sure. He used to sit out in front of the Berwick.
Yeah. And he would walk up around Nickel Street area, the park.
Oh, yeah.
He always had somebody with him.
Because a cousin of mine used to work in there. I don't know if he did the elevator or something like that. But anyway, yeah, he was a heavy-set gentleman. He'd always sit out front.
Always had a top coat, a soft hat.
Oh, yeah, he dressed to the nines.
Yep.
And then when you were talking about it the last time, or if I saw it on Facebook, or You're from Rutland, I didn't know that he was probably he had guards or something, not guards with him, but somebody to look after him. I wasn't aware of that because we never paid any attention to that as kids.
Well, apparently he was a little, what do I want to say, shoplifter, something like that.
Yeah.
And they would have to follow him around, and then they would either pay for whatever he took.
Oh. Yeah.
But he was an heir to some fortune.
Thanks again for that Christmas thing.
Okay,
and
you're very welcome,
and I heard back from my buddies; they loved it.
I'm glad to hear that. Really.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Happy New Year.
Thanks, Wayne, for the call. That was great. Again, 773-979-2, 26 after 7. You, Ray, and all of us, when we hear Rutland in something, we get and I do, and I know I get a big kick out of it. There was Rutland was like an answer on on Jeopardy a couple of months ago, it's on periodically, and I don't even remember what the question was. I know it.
Oh, the original one had something to do with the number of bars, I think. Back.
There might
the
have
70s.
Been. This was something else. I don't remember what it was, and I put it on there. The Rutland was it was part of it. It had something to do with counties or something. I can't remember exactly, but I'll get back to that in a second. We got another person on the line here. Hi, you're on with Ray Mooney.
Morning, Jack. Morning, Ray.
Hey.
Tom Donahue calling.
Hey, Tom Donahue. How are you?
Good. Hey, listen, I had a couple granddaughters in the Nutcracker a couple weeks ago, and I just wanted to compliment you on the great voiceover.
Oh, well, did you notice? Thank you.
I sure did. That was fantastic. And I noticed it right away, and I said, I didn't recognize that voice.
Yeah, I enjoyed doing that a lot. I did that for my daughter, Mary Frances Skaza, and my granddaughter, Grayson, was in it, too. So, I enjoyed doing that. Really did.
It was quite a performance. We enjoyed it.
It was, really, yes.
Yeah. I wanted to mention, too, you were talking about McDonald's, and a while back we had done the grand opening for the new Play Place, which was the largest. That was the addition on the front of McDonald's, which was the largest in New England at the time. And I just wanted to mention the very important VIP guest that we had there for the ribbon cutting was the Hamburglar.
Oh, no kidding.
So that was the highlight of the day. I got to meet Hamburglar.
Yeah. Now, the original McDonald's didn't have that. When did that come along, Tom?
Gosh, I don't remember exactly what year that was, but it was a big deal at the time, and because they weren't all over the country like they are now so much.
Yeah. Oh,
and they were a little ahead of, so that was our VIP. And then one last thing I want to mention, and you got to go to the news, but we do have several decades, as you know, of the Rutland Heralds at Brock Community Action in our basement, which I want to assure you is not just a basement, but it's the CVPS record storage room back in the day.
Right, and we appreciate the storage down there.
Yeah, no problem. It's so it's a great, very, very safe, dry space on metal racks all the way to the ceiling, which is probably 20, 25-foot ceilings down there. And one day I decided on my lunch hour to go back and look up 1984 when I first ran for Rutland City Alderman, and I enjoyed seeing the article. The picture, though, man, did I ever have a Tom Selleck mustache? And I was getting a kick out of seeing that. Now, back then they were in vogue at the time, so, but I can't see myself in it today. Anyway, I'll let
pictures
you guys
don't lie.
Thanks, Tom. Great memories. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we are going to go to the news here in a minute, and I want to talk about the Rutland thing and hearing Rutland stuff, which, of course, transcribes well into you're from Rutland VTF. But I've mentioned Elizabeth, your granddaughter. You have other grandkids, right? I give them a little bit of a publicity.
Oh, I got
here.
Andrew Bailey, Elizabeth's brother. He plays softball and football, I believe. I'm not sure on that one. I got Grayson Skaza, a nice dancer with Miss Lorraine's School of Dance.
And she was in the Nutcracker.
Yeah, okay. And then over in Pelham, New Hampshire, I've got Nathan and Adam Mazzariello.
Oh, okay.
And Nathan's going to have some surgery Friday, so I just want to wish him good luck on that.
All right. And I know on the website or the stream, they can pick us up in the border states, I do believe. Tom Cook, we got to mention Tom.
Oh, Tom, I hope he calls in.
Is Tom in Albany? Is that where you are?
I think Clifton Park.
Clifton Park.
Yeah.
And for some, I don't know how it works. It's not all over the country and all that, but some people can get on the iPhones, and I don't. There are people that pick it up in places that I didn't know we went to.
Vito Storenskis will be complaining.
Yeah,
when I know.
Home, that's another. That's out of my hands. I know Vito has already said. Where's he live? In Arizona or something?
Colorado, I think. Yeah,
Colorado.
he's out there. Yeah.
I know we get that all the time, but it's got nothing to do with. It's Mike's fault, right, Mike?
Yeah, I'll take the blame on that one.
Hey, listen, I was all impressed that Howard Cameron was at McDonald's in 1971.
I was right there with him.
I didn't know about the
Howard bought him, I ate him.
The Hamburglar, though, I mean, that came later. So.
That was me.
So we do have the news coming up, but we'll be back with Ray Mooney from Rutland VTF as the day continues, New Year's Eve, the final New Year's Eve of the this thing with the end of the decade is really confusing.
The last hurrah.
Yeah, the last hurrah for the decade. And it is news time. Mike Cameron standing by for that this morning on WSYB. It is 7:31. Ray Mooney with us. You're from Rutland VTF, and and you're getting the same Facebook messages. Champlain Mike has already chimed in on the first Duke of Rutland. Was Rutland named after Rutland, Mass, or Rutland,
England?
It was Rutland, England. It's funny. I was looking. This is a local person, but Smiling. I was looking for Smiling Steve. Rutland Pharmacy, and I looked it up. I didn't know what the number was. I looked it up. Speaking of computers, looking it up on the computer and everything, and I talked about. I started to talk to the guy, the pharmacist and everything, about what I needed and all that. I said, is that ready yet and all that? It was the one in Rutland, Mass.
Oh, jeez.
And they say, you must be Rutland, Vermont. I go, yes, I am. So,
you know that happens on eBay a lot? They'll have a postcard, Rutland, Vermont. And of course it isn't. It's Massachusetts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I've actually been there once. It's around Worcester somewhere. But anyway, this is the Rutland we're talking about, Rutland, Vermont.
Yeah, you see it a lot on NECN, yeah.
I know that you... obviously a former fireman and so forth, and fires, as tragic as many are, of course, are part of. There's a lot of scenes of past fires and everything on the page.
Right.
Yeah.
And I want to give a tip of the hat to the City of Rutland Fire Department for saving the Grand Theater from the fire at the Tokyo House restaurant
just the other day,
early Sunday morning. Yeah, they did a great job on that. And for some reason, all of Rutland's major fires have occurred within 3 months, from November to February. So the Tokyo House burned on the anniversary of the Hale Block fire, and that building was located at the corner of Wales and Willow Street, where the VFW is now. It was a 4-story wooden building. Tom Cook and I have a running gag about this because they always bring it up, but it's the first big fire I ever saw, 1952, December 29th. Wow. And then we had the Gryphon building fire on Thanksgiving night of 1945, which gutted the 3-story section on West Street. We had the Bates House fire in February of 1906, which burned down where the Mead building is now, among other buildings on either side, similar to the Townhouse fire, Berwick Hotel, which burned on January 7th, 1973. So all these horrible fires occurred within 3 months of each other. Primarily, I would say, because of the winter weather for one reason or another.
I certainly remember the Townhouse and how cold it. I mean, it was 10, 15 below zero that night, and of course, how tragic that was.
Yeah,
and,
5 people passed.
Yep, and the ice that was on the building for months right after that.
That had an awful start. They think it was caused by a salamander that was in there trying to dry sheetrock, but they were never really sure.
But again, and you're talking about the winter. That's when most of those fires happen and everything. You have talked on previous shows and on the fires at the fairgrounds. There's been fires there in the.
The industrial building burned.
And the bleachers, too, right?
That was the grandstand fire. That was 1939.
1939. I've asked you before on this show about how did that start? Was that
they think it was a grass fire kids started that burned underneath it. But the amazing part was it burned in June, and they had the new grandstand, the present grandstand, built by Labor Day.
Oh, did they really?
I believe it was John Russell's company that did it.
Now, they also, the grandstand at St. Peter's Field burned,
That burned in 1952, and it was on the day of one of the American Legion tournament games. Yeah. So they lost about half of the grandstand, but, they saved the rest of it.
Now, how did that start?
That was a grass fire also.
So it was a grass fire that just spread to the...
Kids were great setting grass fires with matches, in those days.
Yeah, so they were set.
Not to purposely burn them.
Yeah. It wasn't lightning or something.
Oh, no. It was accidental, I would say.
Yeah, but Ray, certainly former fireman. This is reminiscing about Rutland. I saw Mark Garrow yesterday, by the way. Mark, people know about his dad, Tommy. Marie, his mom, who's still with us. And so Mark is doing well, by the way. Golden. We had that call from Scott Shattuck earlier, but reminiscing, Tommy Garrow, and he owned the Garrow's Market over on Alex Son used to call it Steak Street.
Steak Street, that's right.
So so it was good to see Mark yesterday.
Tom Garrow, the Pickle King.
And Tommy, I asked Tommy and his wife, Marie, by the way, this is Rutland stuff, were born on the same day in the Rutland Hospital, next room, and they didn't meet that day.
I was going to say they
met
knew
when
each
they
other.
were teenagers. They met finally when they were teenagers. So anyway, great story I heard from Mark yesterday. We do have the sports in about 5 minutes. I wanted to get this. Unless you have something.
I was just going to say real quick. There was another fire. There was a fire at Garrow's Market.
Oh, there was,
which occurred upstairs, and there's a famous picture of Tommy on the front page of the Herald. Something hit him in the head. I can't remember what it was, but he was bleeding, and he's holding his head, and he's very distraught over the fire. But I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah.
That was something else.
Yeah.
I remember the day he got his hand caught in the cube steak machine.
Oh, that I don't remember.
And he went to the hospital with the machine.
Yeah, wow.
That's so that they could disassemble it, and he wouldn't have to lose any of his digits.
Boy, he was a tough
What
boy.
a tough dude.
I was just going to say tough as nails.
Yeah.
Tough as nails, the Garrows. And again, Mark, of course, Tommy, who trained so many fighters over the years.
Up in the Knights of Columbus, third floor,
So that's a great story.
I had a chance to see all of Mark's fights, and he was a good one.
Yeah, he was.
Very fast hands and a real sneaky amount of power.
And
a lot of his opponents said, "Nah, this guy's too skinny. He can't knock me out." And the next thing you know, they're going, "Is it over?" Yes, it is.
Very popular NASCAR reporter now, sports reporter on the NASCAR network down in North Carolina, Mark Garrow. We have sports in about 4 or 5 minutes. I started to bring this up about Rutland stuff. When you hear about Rutland, like on Jeopardy or an answer or whatever, and off it goes to you're from Rutland VTF. And you mentioned it and I really got a kick out of this thing because I've mentioned it with you before. You mentioned in your documentary about Christmas where you're just 6, 7, 8 years old or something. You're watching TV and a movie comes on, The Three Godfathers.
Three Godfathers, yes.
And they mentioned, I did the. I want you to explain that here in a second, but I did the same thing. I was by myself watching TV in the living room. My wife was in the kitchen, and I flicked in, and I just, it was an old movie, The Three Godfathers, and I just watched it for a couple of minutes for no particular reason.
1936.
And they say Rutland, Vermont, and I go nuts, and I put it up on Facebook, and you immediately come on and say, this was a couple of years ago, and you immediately say, I've referred to that before. Tell us a little bit about that.
I saw that when I was probably, 8 or 9 years old. It was originally called Three Godfathers. They changed the name to Miracle in the Desert because there was a John Wayne remake.
Yeah.
But it was basically about the three outlaws that come into town to rob the bank Christmas Day, and they go out into the desert and find a lady who has given birth, and they become the three wise men, basically. But Louis Stone, who plays the professor, Doc they call him, he's got an Eastern accent. So he's in the town, and a woman says, "You sound like an Easterner." And he says, I am. He says, "I'm from Rutland, Vermont." And it's just the way he says it.
I know. I get this. And when I saw it, I'm like 58 and 60 years older than you were when you saw it.
And why they brought that name up. I mean,
I know.
Betty Davis, the actress, had a Rutland connection, but not till 1941 or 2.
Yeah.
And this was 36. So I've often wondered why.
I know. Unless there was a
somebody.
But I get the biggest kick out of that, and you were already familiar with it. By the way, when you said the three wise men, that's pretty deep, Ray. I wouldn't have noticed that.
Oh no, true, yeah.
The three wise men.
Yeah.
But I watched it for a couple of minutes, but I jumped right up. I said, "Gee, they just mentioned Rutland, Vermont in that."
And the worst guy of the three, Chester Morris, brings the baby into town, into church, and dies with the baby.
I didn't watch.
Now I've ruined the movie.
Spoiler alert! Of course, it was only from 1936. So if you haven't seen it by now, you're probably never going to see it. But I only saw that part.
Yeah,
and
that catches you.
It sure does. All you have to do is hear Rutland anything, and you pop right up. Everybody does. Champlain Mike, by the way, who is telling us the history of Rutland with the Duke of Rutland and all that stuff, wishes us all a Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to Mike.
Champlain Mike. Thank you. Call us up, Mike. He's messaging us here. We do have sports quickly coming up in a minute. We'll be back with Ray Mooney. You're from Rutland VTF. We're having a blast here on the day before New Year's Day 2020. It's 7:45 at WSYB. Ray and I were just saying, and this is every time the day just goes by so fast. We do have a person on the line, and hello, you're on with Ray Mooney.
Hey, good morning, Jack. You poked me with a stick. So
we did. This is Champlain Mike.
Hey, Mike.
How you doing?
Hey, how's everybody doing? Great show, guys. I enjoy listening.
Thank you.
But remember, everybody can check out the website and then attend or visit the Rutland Historical Society there Saturday afternoons and Monday evenings, right?
Right.
Jack, now, did you live at Fort Rutland? I mean, you've been around for a long time.
Did I live at Fort Rutland?
Yeah.
Was that Lindholm Sports?
Well, more or less, I think. So you actually lived right about where the original Rutland or Fort Rutland was, right?
Okay, all right. By the way, the fire at Lindholm Sports had nothing to do with me.
You weren't involved in that.
I was long gone after that. I'm surprised, actually, all the years I was there smoking cigarettes and everything. But anyway, that's enough.
Well, Jack, there was a munitions thing right there, so they used to store the gunpowder, so you're lucky that thing didn't happen earlier.
I'm not telling any secrets. Speaking of the fire at Lindholm's, what year was that, Ray? Do you know?
1987.
That was 19. See, look at that. You mentioned a fire, and Ray knows right off the top of his. Jackie DePalma, who I know is a listener here. Jackie, great local guy.
Yeah,
and,
he
said
sure
it was the only time he was either, he was nervous about, a fire and everything with all the ammunition and everything, all the bullets in there. But, and I can see why.
So 1775, I guess that fort was there, according to history. And there's a granite marker right there.
It's still there, yeah.
You're naming that, Jack, have you?
Where is it exactly?
Corner of Terrell and
the parking lot.
It is. It's right there. Okay. Yeah. Gee, I must have missed that. I used to go to bed the same time I now get up. So.
Did you hear the story about that, Mike, when they moved it?
No, I didn't hear it. Go ahead.
Well, when they built the diner, I think the DAR moved it down in front of the Armory for some reason.
Oh, really?
And then I would think in around 2000, maybe the late 90s, they moved it back finally.
Right. Oh, that's something.
Yeah.
So it was, how large was that area? Is there any ideas how big the fort actually was?
I don't know, to be honest. No. Yeah. It was that corner, I know that. But
the one thing about 4 and 7 is where's the beef, So, I mean, you go Five Guys, Burger King, all that. So it hasn't changed a whole lot, right?
No.
So before that, and then there was competing claims by New York, and it was referred to as social borough, right? So Rutland, for a time, at least, under a competing land claim, was social borough.
Okay. That I did not know.
Yeah, and you can find some of that information on the Rutland Regional Chamber of Commerce and the Rutland Historical website. And so it's a great resource. Once again, the Rutland Historical Society and Ray and everybody down there does a great job.
And you too,
if you want to learn about the history. No, I'm still trying to learn, Jack, but I got to give a shout out. I got to give a shout out to my great uncle, Jacques Cartier, 1534. He came down to St. Lawrence, and then they came down to Champlain, of course, 1609. And there's a lot of competing history here in and around the valley. So it's a mixing pot. It's a great location, a great place, a great city. And we have a lot of history. And once again, everybody at the Historical Society can help you. And keep up the good work, guys, and Happy New Year to everybody else.
Happy New Year to you, Mike.
Thanks for being there. Champlain, Mike, thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Right across the street from there, is people may or may not, I know you know, Ray, John Deere was born in Rutland.
Oh, yeah, the
John Deere sign there. And it's
historical site.
Historical site. So, you mentioned earlier about Betty Davis in that movie and in the Rutland connection. I also heard there's a Rutland connection to Grace Kelly, right? Somehow, I don't know the Costello, somehow related to the Costellos.
That I'm not sure. I've heard that, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Betty Davis, though, married Arthur Farnsworth.
Okay.
And she met him at a ski lodge in New Hampshire. And his father, I believe, was a Rutland veterinarian. And as a result of marrying him, she came to Rutland for a bond drive in 1942.
No kidding.
Yeah, she appeared at the Strand Theater and the Armory, and I think Meldon School. A lot of pictures of it. And then, sadly, he died in 43, I believe. He fell and struck his head. Young age, I think like maybe 40. So his service was held at the Trinity Episcopal Church on West Street. So Betty Davis was there for that.
Oh.
So there's a connection there. But why we were mentioned in 1936, I don't know.
Yeah. And actually, Betty Davis, always, speaking of Santa Claus, Betty Davis always kind of scared me, too. Whatever
happened to Baby Jane? Yeah.
For sure. And we have a few minutes before news. Hello, you're on the air with Ray Mooney.
Hi, good morning.
Hey.
Boy, I was thinking to myself, you people are talking about very modern Rutland history. I go way back. And then Champlain Mike came up with 1500.
So see, we've covered it all here.
I've got to fall in between here somewhere. By the way, speaking of the Betty Davis connection, they no longer live in the area. But Gail Kent, who was one of my good friends and a neighbor, and she's moved to Florida for years and years and years. Her mother was, I can't think of her first name, but her married name was Carmichael. Her mother, Betty Davis, was, I think, her aunt or something like that. She was actually related to the...
Would that be Harold Carmichael's wife?
Yes.
Yes, I know who you mean.
He was like an engineer at CV or something, and she worked at Tuttle's.
He was also a call fireman.
Oh, okay.
Believe it or not, yeah.
Yeah, and his son-in-law, Ed Kent, was too,
Ed
right?
Kent, yeah, and the Phil Swords and the Pikes, yeah. Oh, yeah.
There you go. They were all very good friends.
Yes.
Yeah, and Gail's oldest daughter, she'd be like 56 or something now. I swear she was a dead ringer for Betty Davis. And she really did have Betty Davis eyes.
Wow. See what I mean about Betty Davis eyes?
Kim
Scary.
Carnes, yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
Kim Carnes, very good.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lola.
So anyway, I'm following in between here.
Yeah, you got to get a computer, Lola. You got to...
I know.
You got to come up, So there, we've gone back to 15-something and right up to 2020. So
you beat me. I'll tell you, Ray, I have completed 8 decades here in the Rutland region, so I'm probably just about the oldest one listening.
Good for you. Good for you.
Okay. By the way, and before it all became Wilson's Clothing and all that stuff, the store was called Carbine Costello, the men's clothing
That's
store.
right, yes.
Yeah, because my father was a tailor there back in the 1920 or something like that. And
wow.
He was very good friends with the Costellos. I think were like the Bartley Costello family.
I think it's nice to hear history like that, though. It's from somebody that lived it,
Yes, exactly. Yeah, God bless you, Ray. You're doing a good job.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Lola. Yeah,
Happy New Year.
We are going to, yes, Happy New Year. We are going to news time here, and we'll be back on the other side with Ray Mooney. You're from Rutland VTF. And speaking of the Costellos, the same family maybe, I just want to say, I know it's wintertime and there's covered up with snow, but it's still the best lawn in town, that's for sure. Has been for you.
River and forest.
Oh yeah, you got to put more pictures of their lawn there,
and the firebox.
Yes, that's right. It's 9 after 8. You're from Rutland VTF, the Facebook page, and Ray Mooney, the man, is with us this morning. His biannual visit. He came to us the first time the 4th of July weekend in 2015, coming up on 5 years. That's amazing. Yeah, that's.
I just want to throw a few things in here about Rutland, Vermont, and the rules. Is that okay?
Yes, go right ahead.
I'll get up in the morning sometimes, and I'll have 60 members want to join the group. And that's because somebody has hit the wrong button, and every one of their friends has been invited. So I try to limit the number of people that you can invite to maybe 2 or 3. And they should have a Rutland connection. That's what I try to screen. Joey Garfano emphasized that to me. There should be some kind of a Rutland connection. They were born here. If you live in Colorado but you were born here, that's fine. And it's a positive group, as I said. We try to share good memories about the city that we grew up in. I try to prevent birthday notices because, let's face it, with 9,000 members, it would never end. And every now and then, Tom Cook will post my birthday, and it's nice to see, but it gets a little embarrassing sometimes. But I do allow death notices of Rutlanders, because, somebody remembers somebody, and I didn't see it in the Herald, et cetera. So that I don't mind. We don't allow GoFundMe pages at all. We don't allow ads of any kind, no matter how good or bad the organization, because where would that end? I got up one morning, I found a man selling tires, but I think he thought he was on Facebook, so I removed that. So we just try to be positive. If you see something that you think is wrong, let me know, and I will check it out. But I do my best to police the area, as they say.
Yeah, good rules. We had a call coming in. You can call us back here, 773-9792. When you call, be patient. We'll get to you.
Yeah, because I talk a lot.
No, well, that's what you're here for.
There you go.
I don't even remember how I became part of this page, I guess. And you mentioned quickly, and we will get to the call here in a second. I did. Dave Walker, who was a great Rutland area athlete who Mike knows and knew. I did put when I found out about him. I think that was on.
When he passed.
When he passed. Because he lived in Florida, and I don't know how many people knew about that.
Oh, yeah. No,
he was well known.
I encouraged something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Hello, you're on the air with Ray Mooney.
That wasn't me that called, but now that you mentioned Dave Walker, he was my cousin.
Oh, Dave Walker's your cousin.
I'm related to the Walkers. Yeah, and I remember. Jack will love this one. I remember the Rutland High MSJ game. David Walker had fumbleitis that day.
That was.
And they ended up putting Peter Welch in the MSJ's Peter Welch,
not the congressman. Yep.
and Peter Welch had a great day. Anyway. Grace Kelly, from what I remember, because I used to hang around with Mike Levins, son of Teed Levins, 35 Kendall Avenue, Ray.
Got it.
I was told that the Levinses in Rutland were related to Grace Kelly. I don't know how.
Okay, maybe the
how
Levinses.
that came about, but I remember that, and they used to talk about it quite a bit from 35 Kendall Avenue.
No. Okay, I thought it was the Costellos, but because I've heard it, Tom Valenti somehow had told. Tom is down in Washington, I think.
He's
now.
in D.C.
Yeah, and he. It seemed he's told me the story, but I can't remember it. How Grace
You can't believe Tom Valenti. He's a lawyer.
He sure is. The Valentis. Are you kidding me? Okay, there's a name. There's a Rutland name for you for sure.
Great Rutland family.
Hey, Wayne.
Name, everything.
No,
all right, but David Walker, great kid.
Now, was Dave's father Kenny?
Yes.
Yeah, his father was quite an athlete.
Yes, he was. I was just going to mention that.
With the Brooklyn Dodgers.
And here's a real quick one. He used to live over my Uncle Andy Mooney on Roy Street, and in 1942 he set the apartment on fire by accident.
Isn't it amazing? Ray remembers every fire.
Well, especially at a relative's house.
What about Mrs. O'Leary's cow?
I wasn't there for that, but I heard rumors.
Sad thing. David's grandfather... Kenneth Sr. died of a heart attack at 52.
Oh.
David's father died of a heart attack, Kenny, at 63.
Yeah.
And David's brother, Bobby, died of a heart attack about 68. And I'm not sure. David was the youngest. I think he was born the same year Davy Crockett was.
I don't. I don't remember the reason. The cause of death off the top. But great guy, great athlete.
Good people.
Yeah,
he was a fun guy to watch play ball.
And he did fumble in the 72 MSJ Rutland game.
A couple times.
And I got to mention your brother Mickey. He is a great guy.
Well, I don't know about that. I can't.
There's another Rutland colorful character.
Out about that.
Every time I see him, I hear at least 3 jokes, and then I can't remember them when I get home.
All right.
Another Rutland colorful character for sure. It's funny you mentioned Peter Welch coming in. The Peter Welch from MSJ. Peter Welch, just
not the congressman.
Well, the congressman to tell you about Vermonters and everything. He was here. He's been here many times. This happened to be at the Opera House when we were there, and he goes, I went to Cathedral High School. He said, I go, wow, that really a Cathedral High School, Rice now and all that stuff. No, Springfield, Mass. So there's a non-Vermonter for you. Okay. Anyway, this is not a political show either. I'm just saying where he's from.
Not yet.
I always like to bring this up because speaking of the Historical Society, I still have is Jake Sherman still have something to do with the Historical Society?
I believe he does, yeah.
Yeah, he gave me the pamphlet, and I have it in here somewhere, of Babe Ruth being at the fairgrounds in 1919. And they went around and they barnstormed and everything. So that's I just love and I've seen pictures of it on the You're from Rutland, the configuration of the fairgrounds and everything. And imagining where the baseball field might have been.
Where the oval was down there somewhere,
Yeah, exactly. And of course, I've brought this up with you several times. One of your documentaries, it might have been Rutland 1941, one of them where MSJ Band is going down
down River Street. Yeah, it is.
In the background, you can see St. Peter's Field and everything. So
the old stadium,
Yeah, that's great stuff. Do you remember when St. Peter's Field had the lights? In the 40s? No. I don't even know. I don't think I've ever seen any pictures.
I think late 40s they were put in, and honestly, I can't remember them.
I know you weren't born. But I don't mean you saw them personally, but maybe pictures have been on. Sometimes when we talk on the show later on, Tom Cook or somebody or you put something on there. Yeah, they had the lights there because the Rutland Royals played there in the 40s.
I want to say mid-40s they went in.
Yeah.
Because they did the big renovation around 1940, 41, I think. Yeah.
They had the lights at St. Peter's Field, and the lights that were used at St. Peter's Field when they sold them to BFA of St. Albans.
Oh,
not the new complex that they have now.
Collins Pearly.
Not that
complex.
Down
at the old Coop.
At the old
Coop Field.
In town, right?
Coop Field.
The school itself.
Yeah, it's down by the old railroad station.
So that's a little a bit of trivia. I can't remember ever seeing actually pictures of St. Peter's Field with the lights, but anyway.
I think I was down there once for the Assumption Festival, maybe 52 when they had them on.
Yeah, they might. Maybe they were around for like 10 years, maybe something like that. Hello, you're on the air.
Hi, Ray and Jack. This is Mike Finn. You were talking earlier about Freight Street. I remember the Railroad Express was there. Landon's was there.
Oh, yeah.
And I just saw a movie with Betty Davis and Spencer Tracy made in the mid-'30s, and I can see why Kim Carnes sang that song. She was absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, she was. Yeah, she
and,
was.
Not to discredit Betty Grable or anybody, but the other thing was Dave Walker and Ken and the family lived in the Sycamore Inn there, right next to Peter Welch on 8 East Center Street.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And of course, I always remember Ken, walking around.
Always walked. I remember by the fire station.
Yeah. So once again, some great memories have been brought up, and this is just great.
We try.
I'll get off so somebody else can call.
Oh no.
773-9792. We do have sports in just a minute. I ask you this every time just to confirm. The Meade building is not the Andrea Meade family, right? That's a different family, right?
I think so.
I know I've asked you that, and I actually, that's what I've heard. So Andrea Meade.
I think Abner Meade. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm not sure. But
it might be the Meade. I hate to bring this up, but how do you spell Meade? The Meade building.
MEAD.
MEAD. And Meade Lawrence, I think, is MEADE.
C as
right?
an E, I believe. Yeah.
And of course, I know this is the modern era now, but isn't it great that we have the sculptures and everything?
Oh, downtown. Aren't they nice?
Including one with Andrea Meade Lawrence, which was dedicated a little over a year ago.
I mean, literally works of art, seriously.
But, and we brought it up already about the parades with Christmas and other parades, but the one with Andrea Meade Lawrence, and I know you were only 4 years old when she won the gold medals, but I've
seen pictures.
I know. I get chills seeing that.
I know it. Knee deep in people.
It's just unbelievable.
Yeah. Oh, she put Rutland on the map. Charlene Johnson, Yeah.
Oh, and before I go to the sport, you did bring up. I remember the last name, Looker. She was
Joan.
She was. Is that related to George Looker and
that was
Billy Looker and everything?
Well, she was the daughter of Charlie, I believe.
Yeah, okay, so
he ran the restaurant. So George would be the uncle.
Okay, so she was Billy's cousin. Yeah,
Winter Carnival Queen of 55.
And you had put on about. As a matter of fact, it was also in the documentary. Being you mentioned Carly Johnson. She was Miss Vermont, but this.
Miss USA.
Miss USA. Yeah. The whole thing, Miss USA, right? Beyond. But the being on the Today Show with Dave Garroway.
Oh, yeah.
And it brought back memories for me because I put it on there myself about, I couldn't have been more than, I don't know, 8 or 9 years old. We actually went to that show. Remember back in the old days where you could watch?
Could look in the window.
Exactly. We did. We're waving and all that stuff.
My Uncle Charlie O'Rourke would call us and say, I'm going to be outside the window waving.
No kid. Maybe I was there the same day. Because Dave Garroway was the head of it, the main guy, and there was Frank Blair who did the news, and there was Jack Lascouli, who was the sports guy, who even at the age of 6, 7, 8 years old, I idolized Jack Lascouli. He used to do the football Fearless Sportcast on Fridays. He'd do his football predictions and everything. So I was a big fan of that.
Those
and
are some old names.
And it was J. Fred Muggs. I was a big fan of his too. Also J. Fred Carbine Jr., a big fan of his. But J. Fred,
connection.
Can you imagine a news show nowadays though with
God only knows.
They have the news guy and all that stuff, and
it's live.
And there's a chimpanzee as one of the co-hosts. You gotta love it. Just one more quick call before we go to the sports here in just a minute. Hi, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi. Thanks for giving me a little time.
Yes.
To answer, follow up on the Betty Davis and all that. I'm doing some research on it. I do go to Trinity, and so I've got a lot of our members are gone that would remember Libby Carmichael, and that's for Lola, because she didn't remember her first name.
Elizabeth, yeah.
And her husband must have worked for CV.
Yes, Harold.
Ray, because she was so proud of the fact that she had a street light on Robinwood, where she lived.
She had a connection.
Yeah. But so I'm gonna still do some more research on the part about their daughter. Would be Libby's granddaughter that looks so much. And now I'm thinking back, and I'm thinking, yeah, she did look a little bit like, have the Betty Davis eyes. But I'm really enjoying this. I am not, my grandchildren are Vermonters. I've only been here 51 years.
Oh, that doesn't. I've only been
enough.
here 48 myself. We'll make it someday, but.
But Ray, I love listening to it, and I like to go to all the stuff at the Rutland Historical Society. I'm in the Menden Historical Society, so we rely on them a lot. They have a lot of our information.
Good for you.
Lived on the Wheelerville for a long time, and you guys probably have some good history about the Wheelerville.
I think we do.
Stories. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the compliments.
Now you're not related to Babe Ruth, right?
He has to ask me that every time, Ray.
I know. Thanks for the
All
call.
right.
Thanks.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
And Arlen tells me, do you know Arlen? He's at the Rutland Historical Society at times.
Arlen Bloodworth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're getting the same message as I am.
He was a year behind me.
J. Fred Muggs was at the fair back in the 60s.
I missed him, apparently.
I could get his autograph. I guess maybe there's a picture of him somewhere. I am running late here. We do have sports coming up in just a minute. Time flying by. We got the news in about 3 minutes. I did want to. Now we were just talking about. I was just going to bring up something, and I forgot now what I was going to bring up, and it did come from the Christmas movie.
Yeah. You mentioned Bing Crosby songs.
Yeah.
How much you liked them?
Yes.
So, did you ever hear the song called "The Spirit of Christmas"?
I probably have.
It was from the 1959 movie "Say One for Me." And the movie bombed. It was a terrible movie, but he played a priest, and of course, being a good Catholic altar boy, I went to see it. And he sings "The Spirit of Christmas" at the end. It's a very touching, moving song.
Yeah, obviously, Bing Crosby. I know you've mentioned him a lot in the. I loved his. I love his voice.
Oh
anyway.
yeah.
And Holiday Inn, the movie from which White Christmas originally came from.
1942.
The Holiday. It was the guy that owned that inn or something.
Well, he and Fred Astaire opened it only on holidays.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know that. Yeah, we had that story, and of course the person picked up the. I'm not sure if it was the person that owned that or the guy that owns the franchise. That's where he got. That's
the
why
name.
we have
the motels.
franchise. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember what I was going to say, and you make a point about it here in the documentary about Christmas, but other times too, where you'll have a picture of something or a drawing or something. And it reminds you of Rutland. And there's one in that movie that you can swear is Center Street. And it was...
Oh, yeah,
I don't
west.
know. Was it from the Saturday
Evening
Post?
Post. I think it was 1946 or 7.
And it's exactly...
It looks like the Eagles Club.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable. I've always thought there were... Norman Rockwell, is he a Vermonter or a New Englander? Or,
he painted down in Arlington. I think he might have been from Massachusetts.
Okay. And you get the feeling he was around here. And really, that was what he was thinking of. There's the Saturday Evening Post. I think I mentioned with you before, there is a Saturday Evening Post of the football players. The flipping the coin. And I heard somewhere that was Rutland and Bennington.
I heard. I think you told me the story, to be honest.
And it sort of looks like Flights Field and everything in the background. So... Yeah, I get the kick out of that when you say, as you're saying in the documentary, it reminds me of Center Street looking.
Oh, the minute I saw it, that's what I thought of.
And it's exactly like it.
Yep.
Exactly. And you mentioned the decorations back in those days too. The
garlands.
The garlands, and you mentioned OSHA. There was like a
30-foot ladder
right in the middle of the road. So they never go for that nowadays.
I hope that was his friend holding it.
And of course, I'm amazed that we've touched upon this already. When Santa Claus came down from the
Mead Building,
and everything, and all the people that were there to see him, were they there to hope he fell or something?
I hope not. That would ruin Christmas.
Yeah, it sure would. I mean, he was. It was amazing that.
I honestly think they were giving stuff away because you could see people distributing stuff in the crowd. You know, so.
Yeah. Just amazing.
Yeah.
The Saturday Evening Post. I just, I can just imagine some of the, the covers and.
Well, as
so
I said,
forth.
they always had the ads, the Christmas ads, and Santa would be selling something,
Yeah, it's just amazing. You mentioned that too, and some of the. Again, you can pick it up on YouTube or the Pig TV. Ray has had several documentaries about Rutland, but this is the one about Christmas that we just had. And there was a lot of your home. There was
memories.
There was a home movie too, wasn't there? Kind of mixed in there, right? A video or something.
I don't think so. A video?
There was a video of something. It was in your documentary. It was a video like way back. Somebody took. I can't remember exactly what it was, but you talked about having oysters.
It was a picture of my grandmother and my mother.
Yeah, okay.
And she would make oyster stew or soup, whatever it was called, for midnight mass when the people came back from St. Peter's Church. Family, friends, etc. And my brother-in-law Joe Latibus started making it for me for the last 10 years. I mean, really good. Really good.
Yeah, Joe, of course, we lost him.
April 29th,
It was at April 29th of this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Very sudden,
Yeah, and of course, the Latterbush family supports your granddaughter at the...
Well, Joe was Judy's twin brother.
Oh, no, I did not know that.
Yeah, fraternal twins,
Oh.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize it was that.
He and I ran the Knights of Columbus booster for 17 years.
And, of course, they were big on the Little League team way back.
Oh, yeah. Uncle Norm Lattibush,
Yeah.
Gary and Normie, Yeah. Great family.
As a matter of fact, I've seen some Lattabushes at your granddaughter's games without seeing you.
Well, Judy's brother, Walt, he shows up a lot.
Walt, that's another brother, Walt. I've known Walt for a long time.
As I say, in my other life, people are dying to see me, so I have to, Sorry about that.
That is your other life, I know. And you're still doing that.
Yes, yeah.
I can remember. You don't have anything today, though, right?
Hopefully not.
Oh,
yeah.
I forgot.
You never know.
That's something.
It's like the fire department.
You don't plan. I'm sorry about that. A sporting event generally is planned already. You know about it. It doesn't happen at the last minute. Yeah, there were just some great stuff. The Winter Carnival too. When did that end? As a matter of fact, I think that ended sometime in the 70s, didn't it?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I mean,
didn't we had the sculptures?
It was big in the 50s. I know that. 55 to 60, I would say, and I lost track, to be honest.
Yeah, so because it seems to me, unless it was school related, didn't we have sculptures in the Main Street
in the park? I guess, yeah. Yeah. I got to give a shout out to Tom Cook, who's been posting.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I have the luxury of being on a computer here now, and I see that he's posted a lot about the Fort Rutland Monument.
Boy, he's right on top of it.
I see Betty Davis. I see George and Mary Jean Costello's house taken by Donna Burke Wilkins.
Yes, Donna does a great job.
Oh, she is.
When you talked about the Christmas tree and all the great pictures. That
most of the pictures we used were hers.
Yeah, I know.
And we got to give her credit and a shout out because she is remarkable. And I'm looking down through here. I guess that's here's LaFawn's store.
Oh, there's Fort Rutland.
Yeah, see the monument there?
Yes.
Yeah. That used to be in front of the armory. Oh, it shows it right there. There it is. And then they moved it back up to the rightful location.
Okay.
I almost think when the diner was there wasn't enough room or something. There was a problem, so they moved it down in front of the armory.
There's the one about Betty Davis. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, she's at the Strand Theater. I can see the arch there behind her. And she went up to the armory. The Strand had been remodeled after the fire in 1940, another fire.
Isn't that something? Betty Davis and her husband was a Rutland native.
Yeah, Arthur Farnsworth, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
He died. Service was September 4th, 1943 at the Trinity Church.
And I touched upon John Deere was born in Rutland, and every year at the John Deere tournament, which is held in Chicago or somewhere out there. Why isn't it at the Rutland Country Club? That's where it should be. After all, he's a Rutlander.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, I'm running about 5 minutes late. We do have the news here.
Sorry.
And that's my fault, but this is too much fun. You're from Rutland VTF is the Facebook page. Ray Mooney, his biannual visit here on New Year's Eve Day 2019. 19. You know, a couple of other things before we have to take a break here. About, again, going back, Bing Crosby. It's Silver Bells, right? That was
Bob Hope.
Bob Hope.
Yeah.
Bob Hope. Yeah, that's right. It was Bob
Lemon
Hope.
Drop Kid.
Yeah, the Lemon Drop. Bob Hope. He did Silver Bells, and I think you said something to the effect that reminds you of Rutland.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
because in the movie they have almost the same garland.
Yeah,
on
exactly.
The street.
Yeah, that's exactly how it went. Boy, it's amazing how much. That reminds me of Rutland. That reminds me of Rutland. And,
that always did.
Yeah, and again, we mentioned the Saturday Evening Post.
Well, speaking of that, Tom Cook has just posted the cover you spoke of with the famous Norman Rockwell flipping the coin.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it, and my gosh, it does look like Flight's Field.
Yeah, and I don't know who taught. Yeah, it.
Especially the bleachers.
Yeah, it does. Flight's Field, of course, for
at
people.
Home.
Yeah, the Saturday Evening Post wanted the flipping of the coin. Rutland, and somewhere along the line, I heard that was Rutland and Bennington or something.
Beautiful thing. It is.
And hello, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi, Jack.
Yes, hi.
Hi, Tom Cook.
Hi, Tom.
Hey,
How
Tom.
are you?
Thank goodness.
Oh, coincidental. We were just talking about you.
I thought you might have passed away or something.
How are you? Great stuff here, Tom.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. How are you?
We're losing you.
Good.
We're good.
Yep. Can you hear us okay?
Yep.
Okay.
I just want to wish you a Happy New Year.
Well, Happy New Year to you, Tom.
well.
And I appreciate all that you're doing this morning because, as I say, I have access to a computer so I can finally see it. Oh, there's the picture of on the post of downtown at Christmas. Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
You are good, man. You are good.
You are good.
I was trying to keep up with you guys. You're talking too fast. Though.
Oh,
I know we got so much stuff to go. We're running out of time here, but great on putting up that the football flipping of the coin. Again, I don't know where I heard that or what. I really truly believe that's Rutland and Bennington at Flight's Field on the evening of the Post cover, the Saturday Evening Post in
1950.
Was that 1950? Wow. Yeah. Well, now where are you calling from, Tom?
I'm actually I'm in Latham, New York.
You're in Latham, New York.
I always say Clifton Park.
And you do pick us up on the iPhone or something, or the.
That's on, it's called TuneIn Radio or something.
TuneIn Radio. Okay.
Cool. And Tom is a Rutland native from Plain Street, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
Nice.
Right.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks for calling, and thanks for all the updates and everything. And Ray appreciates you. You know, I remember one of the earlier times when Ray was on, I always thought you two guys knew each other for years and had actually never met until fairly recently,
right? Joey's service.
Okay, yeah. So, Tom, thanks for being there. We appreciate it.
Listen, Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
We're going to watch the ball come down tonight?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we'll be there.
Thanks.
Take care.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay, bye,
Thank
Tom.
You. Yeah, and thanks for updating us. Bye-bye. We do have the Facebook page and everything here. And you're right, the Silver Bells was Bob Hope. The other thing, before I take a break, what was it? I think you had some ads from various stores and everything, and one of them, I don't even remember the store, had Ozzie and Harriet.
That was on the TV Guide.
That was on the TV Guide.
Yeah. Because they did Christmas covers as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Was that in the documentary, or was that?
That was in the Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, wow, Ozzie and Harriet.
Because I did comic books, magazines, and TV guides. Yeah.
Well, you covered everything in that documentary.
I tried to.
I can't remember whether I saw it on the Facebook page or that. But
could always pick up a TV Guide at State Cut Rate.
Oh, yeah, George Looker, yeah.
Yes, we were talking about George.
The store you could operate in. It was so clean, you know.
Unbelievable indeed.
Took care of my Timex watch for many years.
We are going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in just a minute. All right, we got 10 minutes, so we're clear. Matter of fact, you might have already heard us talking, which I thought was off the air, but it was on the air. But how much
I just want to repeat how much I enjoy this.
Me too. I agree. I love it.
You have me here twice a year, and when I'm on Facebook, I really don't get a chance to verbalize with people. But doing this and phone calls coming in, I really enjoy it. So thank you so much.
And we do have a phone call. Speaking of which, right now, hello, you're on the air.
Oh, it's me again.
Hello.
You were talking about Carlene King Johnson, Miss USA.
Right.
I'm sure Ray's aware of this, that her mother, Catherine King Johnson, was the founder of Piedmont Parkway.
Yeah. The development up there, yeah.
Yeah, and she also founded Eastridge Acres in Mendon.
That I didn't know.
She was quite the lady.
Yes. Yeah. And wasn't she connected to the Chaffee Art Gallery somehow?
Oh, I'm sure she was.
When it first started, I believe.
Yeah, I'm sure she was. Also, I worked at Woolworths the Christmas of '56. I was one of the checkout persons when I was in high school. They were the first store, like a 5 and dime, to have all those checkout registers, I remember.
Oh, they modernized it in '55, yeah.
Right, okay, and this was '56.
Yeah.
And Emerson Peak was the store manager.
Yeah.
And Diz Richards, I don't know his first name, but they called him Diz.
Vernon.
And somehow either his wife was Mayor Daley's sister, or somehow or other he was related to Mayor Daley.
I think somehow they were connected because the Daleys had something like 14 kids and the Richards had 13 kids. So
right.
There was
they populated. That was all those crowds that were at Andrea Meade Lawrence's parade.
But Vern Richards, as you say, Diz always reminded me of Jack Webb. He looked like Jack Webb. He acted like him.
Yeah, he did. Now that you mention it.
Yeah, Vern had a big family.
Yeah,
also, yeah. You just mentioned that.
Yeah.
Yeah, who had more?
Also, the floor walker, we called her floor walker, was Lucy Ragosta Levins, Kim Levins' mother.
Oh, my gosh.
I know you often mention Kim Levins.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, she was the sweetest, nicest person. And she, at that time, was engaged to Tom Levins, and he was at UVM. And he would come home on the weekends, and I remember he'd come in on Friday nights because the stores were open on Friday nights back then. And I remember he would greet her with a little kiss.
Oh.
It was so sweet, especially to a senior in high school like I was. But, the impressive thing was people would come to with their carriages. And I remember this one lady, the carriage was piled to the ceiling because these were her Christmas gifts and stuff, and it came to $10, and I was so impressed that she had spent $10.
Oh, that was a lot of money then.
Oh, it sure was. Now you can't go through any of the stores and buy one thing for $10, but that was what was kind of fun back in the day. And I just thought I'd fill in with one more thing.
Right.
So keep it up, guys. You might even convince me to get a computer one of these days.
Yeah, you got to get a computer.
You got it.
If I've come into the computer age, anybody can do it.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Thanks for those memories.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Tom who just called us a few minutes ago, has put in some of the things we're talking about. That one with the garlands and everything, it looks like Center Street.
Oh, doesn't it, though?
If that isn't Center Street, I don't know what it is. I would swear that was...
I think there's a building to the left that I might have cropped out that to me looks like... No, it's down the street. It looks like the Eagles Club on the next corner there.
And this is, back in the... As we know, Center Street... It was at... Center Street had the... what do you call it? The diagonal parking. We talk about that in past
and
shows.
Merchants Road did too.
Did they have diagonal on one side and parallel on the other?
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what this street has. And quickly, Flights Field. I was thinking about as we see the what I think is the picture at the Flights Field at Rutland High, which is now a playground, I guess, right? Or at the old Rutland High. That it's been since 1978 since there have been games there. At Flights, 1978.
Wow.
I mean, we're talking about 45
Where does
years
time
ago.
go? Yeah.
I mean, it's not like yesterday we're talking about games there. The games at Alumni Field have been since the first MSJ Rutland game there was in 1978. I just can't believe how fast the time flies here.
Especially as you get older.
Yeah, I know. And to think there's another McDonald's, which has probably been around 25 years in itself. When did the second one come along? Yeah. So, what else? Skidor, we were just talking about it. Just bringing us. It's great to have them on board, but they're right behind the 19th green.
Oh yeah, over in Center Rutland. Yeah, and, there's some old memories over there in that area. Yeah. Old Route 4. Yeah.
We used to do the talk show there.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah. Gigi was the host. Let's see, I'd interview
at the 19th green.
Yep. Yeah.
Gigi was the host.
Gigi was the host, mening he owned
the host.
I was the host. Yeah. And the first guest I had was former Governor Dick Snelling.
Oh, no kidding.
Geez. So we had a really nice lunch. Of course, Gigi was really pleased that the governor was there, and he made some great scallops.
Yeah, speaking of Gigi and the 19th green and everything, when the Yankees beat the Red Sox in that 1978 playoff game, and I was working at WHWB at the time, and it obviously down the road from WHWB. And Frank and McCormick and Gigi and myself watched the game at the 19th green, and also a member of the Ink Spots was playing. The Ink Spots were playing at the 19th green like that night or something. I never forget it for more ways than one. But
Gigi used to run the Rutland restaurant, the Corsones family.
Cousins
way back in the day.
And then Stratty and Agnes and his family took it over. It's always Greek, but always had good scallops, like Mike says.
We can't talk about a Rutland show here without the Rutland restaurant, of course.
And we dedicated our memorable places to eat to Stratty.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Who just, I think, turned 83 or 4.
Oh, wow. We got time for one more call. Hello, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing today?
Good. How you doing, Mike?
Good. I just wanted to say hi to Jack and Ray. And
thank you.
I've never met Ray, but I seem to know him from online.
This is Mike, who?
This is Mike Shalou.
Oh, Michael Shalou.
Who's got pictures
great photos.
Great photos, yeah.
And I wanted to thank you for posting all your cool images.
Well, I appreciate that. I just try to keep the Rutland memories alive as long as I can.
Yeah. And someday we're going to have to meet.
We will.
Wow. You're invited the next time Ray's on board.
And
Come on in.
I like your progress on the hospital construction. Every time I see it, there's a little more done.
Yeah. And I always wonder, say 50 years from now, are people going to look at your pictures, mine, Donna Burke's, and look at them and say, geez, look at how it was back then.
Well, mine
That's
are
exactly what they're going to do.
Mine are just reproductions. You're doing the real thing, you and Donna.
You and Donna. Do you know Donna, right? Or do you?
I've met Donna once.
Okay. Donna,
we were going into a store, and neither one of us had our cameras. And we always have them. We always have them.
That's nice.
Yeah, she's a very nice lady.
And again, I know Donna's listening. Mike, I got to wrap it up. I wish we could go another 8 hours, but we can't.
Hey, Mike, Happy New Year.
Thanks, Mike. Happy New Year.
Same to you guys. Same to all the listeners.
Yeah.
God bless.
Happy New Year, everybody. I got to tell you again, this has been a blast. I
Same
just
here.
quickly, the Rutland restaurant, in my single days, if it were not for the Rutland restaurant, I probably would have starved to death. I had steak, French fries, steak and French fries I think every day, and it only cost like $3.50.
No matter what it was, it was
might
good.
not have even been that expensive. Ray, it's been a pleasure.
Same here, Jack.
I can't tell you. And thanks,
I've enjoyed
everybody.
it.
And thanks, everybody, for joining us today. And Happy New Year. And thanks for being there, folks. And matter of fact, we're back tomorrow. We'll catch you next time.
I'll see you
Ray.
July 4th.
Okay. The 4th of July. It's a day. Thanks, everybody, for joining us on WSYB, the Procter Gas Morning Show. Mike Cameron is next. It is Vermont's most local radio show. Thanks, everybody, for joining us this morning.